Doom The Dark Ages came out recently, and I cannot play it. Now you might be wondering what could be the reason for it, and the reason is ray tracing. I feel ray tracing has more cons than pros as of today. It is absolutely limited and is available only to those who have a ray tracing supported graphics card, but that's not enough. You are also supposed to have a decent amount of VRAM for it to work properly. This requirement is rendering most of the GPUs unusable. I used to see Bethesda and id as one of those studios who would try to make their games playable on most of the hardware, as seen with Doom Eternal. My brother literally completed Doom Eternal on this piece of hardware, and it ran surprisingly okay. The problem with modern gaming is the introduction of DLSS and FSR and other similar concepts. Not only it degrades the visual quality, but also compels the developers to not optimize their games properly. Although it can be said in favor of ray tracing that baked lighting is time consuming and has to be redone even for small changes, ray tracing avoids this limitation because it simulates realistic lighting dynamically. Also, I saw this post a few months ago on Reddit which kind of explains my problem with ray tracing. Before we move ahead, I would request you to consider liking and subscribing. Ray tracing is a resource intensive process because it mimics how light behaves in the real world. For example, a light ray hits an object and then bounces off in different directions. This bouncing light affects how other objects are lit and how materials like metal or glass reflect or refract the light. The computer then tries to figure out how light interacts with every surface and material, which results in a much more realistic and visually impressive environment compared to traditional methods like baked lighting. On the other hand, baked lighting is pre-computed. It is already figured out how the light is supposed to interact with the environment, and this data is stored in a file. So when you play the game, the lighting does not technically adapt to its environment in real time, as it's already figured out and hence is less resource intensive. This is a very basic explanation of how ray tracing works and differs from baked lighting. I tried to use my brain cells to understand and simplify the information to the best of my abilities, and if I interpreted something in the wrong way, please forgive me and leave a comment down below so I could understand it better. Anyways, now you might be thinking, why am I against ray tracing presently? Well, it's because I don't have a good enough ray tracing supported hardware. It gets the job done barely, only in Minecraft. You see, PCs come in different shapes and sizes. The hardware differs from machine to machine, unlike consoles which have a set of hardware common to every machine. Therefore, it is easy to optimize games for consoles as the developers don't have to deal with unlimited permutations and combinations as is the case with PC. Typically, a decent PC costs more than a console, and seeing that PC perform worse than a console hurts. But the problem doesn't end here. The developers also play a major role in ensuring that their product is accessible to the majority. It is totally understandable that with the evolving needs, requirements, and time, a product has to evolve too. But at this point, this product is evolving only for a handful of people. Poor and lazy optimization techniques are leaving the majority of the consumers with inaccessible products, and the problem is that majority of the world lives here, which is poorer than the world living here. Modern gaming is becoming horrible due to these time and cost cutting practices. Upscaling and AI generated frames is becoming the norm due to mandatory ray tracing. This encourages the developers to avoid tweaking their games here and there, as they believe that DLSS and frame gen will get the job done, which unfortunately isn't true. Ray tracing is demanding and is making this hobby called gaming a luxury, which absolutely is unfair. Although it is not a new piece of tech, but it also needs to be explored much more at the time before its mass implementation. Ray tracing makes the game look better, there's no doubt about that. It cuts time and cost when used correctly, but baked lighting has a charm of its own. You can see this in Half-Life 2, Halo 3, or in the upcoming Minecraft lighting update, where I feel the new lighting looks better than the generic ray tracing. Ray tracing can be seen as a success for consoles but not for PCs currently, in my opinion, which needs to be addressed considering that PC and console gaming almost have a similar market share. So that was my rant. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you disagree, I would encourage a civil discussion in the comments. Please consider liking and subscribing. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.